karaoke. Round of applause for Jamie. How good was that? Brilliant. I'm not, in fact, Dave Crane. I am Sarah Badani. No, it's not. She's on the way. And she's had an accident, but she's going to join us, hopefully. So when she comes in, she's going to be all quiet. So when she comes in, regardless of what's happening, make sure you stand up, give her a massive round of applause. Okay, let's just have a little practice. Everyone stand up. 1, 2, 3, go. Round of applause. Go, go, go. Okay, sit down. 3 people cheered, everyone else just stared at me. She's going to be coming in through that door and she's going to be all forlorn because she's slightly late and had a bad day. So just practice that again. What you're going to do, if you don't know how to clap properly, first of all, what you do is you start clapping like this if you've never done it. Everyone start clapping. That's it. When she comes in, that's what you do. And at the same time, any other event going on in the Capital Club has been freaked out by what we've done in here, which is fantastic. So I want to share with you a couple of things. I've been given the opportunity to do a keynote speech for you, and I want to talk to you about a couple of things. First of all, about the fear of public speaking that many people have. How many people here have a fear of public speaking? Okay, be honest. How many people have a fear of putting up your hand when somebody asks you a question about fear of public speaking? And how many people, because it's quite a warm room, have got a little sweat patch you don't want to reveal to anybody else? Okay, I want to show you, before we start, a very quick video, which my dear friend Banish will play for us right now.
This is your time. You worked very hard to get where you are, an inspiration to many, a mentor, a rainmaker, and a successful boss. But the one thing you've never done well is now the one skill you have to learn: public speaking. Great leaders throughout time have always shown their power from the stage. Now is the most essential ability for anybody to be seen as a change maker, industry expert, high achiever, or thought leader. Do you have a fear of public speaking? Are you missing out? Does your tribe need a chief executive officer who can command and motivate from on stage? Is your message getting lost because you need to be able to present from conferences, events, and global forums? My name is Dave Crane. I've worked on stage for over 4 decades. I've done every kind of entertainment, and I train leaders around the world to find their voice, realize their power, and dominate their industry. I've worked alongside some of the smartest names and most respected business coaches in the world. I train world leaders, industry experts, and high achievers to speak. What do you need? Do you need to share an idea, a theory, a formula, or an invention? Do you need to position yourself among the best of your peers as a key voice to lead into the digital age? Do you need to elevate and grow your personal brand? Are you ready to share stages and concepts among the most innovative minds, producing viral videos and great speeches on a global scale? Most leaders who are great communicators fail with a microphone because they don't know stagecraft. They don't know how to engage, entertain, and motivate large crowds. But when you do know how, it's just like breathing. My name is Dave Crane.
There you go, that's a quick introduction to me. That's me. I'm all shy now, but not really. Here's the thing. People say that the ultimate influencers are probably the Kardashians. Probably true, unfortunately, it's true. Why? Because they were the first wave of people to say, look at my life, look at my dinner, aren't I shiny, wouldn't you like to be like me? And that has worked for a degree, but what's changing is the fact that having that level of influence only works if you're selling access to you. As the next generation of influencers come online, it's not going to be about the fact that you've got huge crowds and huge reactions from everything you say, gets huge shares and likes and comments. It's going to be far more targeted. Who are your people? What do they want? Are you looking after them? And that will be the growth of the micro-influencer. Now the good thing is that if you haven't got a big crowd following you, don't bother chasing them. Chase the ones who want something from you directly. And if you haven't worked out who they are, that's the first thing you've got to be able to do. Now the big fear about public speaking is the fact that whether it's online and doing videos or whether it's in front of a live audience, people are worried about what if things go wrong. And that makes you freeze. That makes you worried about the fact that people are going to say stuff about you. How many people feel that's true as well? One person, I know it's more than that, everyone's going, who's going to pick on us? Well, if you don't get noticed, you won't be able to get that business. Now, let me tell you one of the things that's really scary, and it's a big tsunami that's on the way. Now, everybody knows what a tsunami is. It's when that big wall of water wipes everything out. Right now, we have an opportunity, and it's across all the social media. LinkedIn especially, not so much during the other ones, because so many people are active on that and being really effective. But this tsunami is literally all the brands that currently advertise on boring TV and boring radio and boring magazines and boring newspapers are still spending their money there. At some point they'll change. And what we'll decide to do is start looking at social media in a really serious way. So if you're trying to grow a brand and you're trying to be effective and get people to know who you are, right now you can do it just by posting cool stuff and by connecting and commenting. You can't do that easily on the likes of Facebook or so on because you have to pay to play. I reckon the next 12 months or so, that'll be LinkedIn as well. And the tsunami that's coming is not only going to have all the influencers that are changing their game to fit in, it's going to have all the advertising companies that will drive it to $100 per click. So if you're growing a brand right now, then that's fantastic. You try and grow it in 12 months' time, and it's going to be very, very challenging. So where does that leave you? What can you do? Well, first of all, work out what it is that you offer. Who are you? What do you do? I read posts all the time from many life coaching people. And what happens is they're like what I call clickbait. Somebody says, I've made a decision today that I'm going to lose weight, or have you considered doing this, or whatever. And they get tons of response. But if you can't monetize that, what is that response for? Instead, you want to really break it down to who is it that wants your stuff, and what do they want, and create a relationship with them. Now, public speaking for me is kind of important, but that's only because of the area that I'm in. Everybody in this world, everybody in this room has different niches, different potential areas that you can be able to connect to as you grow your own personal brand. Why am I involved in public speaking? Why do I train people to do what I do? Well, very simple. In America, 200 years ago, they had a gold rush. And the gold rush had everybody running about with pans, trying to find gold in the rivers and the hills, everywhere. People going crazy. And the money wasn't made by anybody who was trying to pan for gold. The money was made by the people who sold the pans. That's where you need to be. For every industry that's changing, that's evolving, that's finding a different way of doing stuff, you want to be there handing out knowledge. Now, part of that whole change is the fact that if you're involved in traditional ways of learning, that's going to alter as well. Traditional ways of learning used to be you go to university, go to college, spend a fortune, sit there, and somebody will go blah, 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 and you make lots of notes, blah, 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 and then you take a test and maybe you get your qualification. Nowadays, on Udemy and many other platforms, for $12, you can learn all that stuff. It's the age of a specialist. The sooner you can grow your brand, the sooner you can decide who you are. Now, here's the thing that I like so much about it. Now, first of all, before I continue, a very dear friend of ours has just entered the room. Ladies and gents, Sarah Madani. Give her a round of applause. Very good indeed. So what are we waiting for? You told you. So what was I talking about? Anybody remember? Udemy, of Of course, I knew that. I was just hijacked because she was great. Okay, Udemy. Udemy allows you to go online and learn a new skill. And this is going to be the beginning of everything, because every single university, college is going to afford the ability to learn and be coached online for buttons. So that's where you catch up and you get the speed to do the stuff that you need to do. The next thing you need to do is consider this number. 1.5 jobs. If you have an existing job, you should consider adding a hobby that you can monetize next to it. Because the days of trying to get promoted at work and kissing Heine is probably the best way I can say it, to get noticed by the boss and so on, they're changing. You don't necessarily have to get promoted at work. If you've got a weekend job or an online store or something that you do outside of work that brings in a certain amount of money, you can put your effort into that, get 0.5 of your normal wage, and if it did come to it and you were to lose your job, you could concentrate on doing something you really love, instead of doing something that you've had to do to pay the bills. And if you are looking for work and you haven't got a job right now, before you start doing what everyone else is doing, which is applying for jobs, have a think about what you would really like to do. Now, if that thing that you really like to do is really sort of eluding you, consider 3 things. First of all, what are you brilliant at doing, as in really good? What area of life are you really good at? Secondly, what's your passion? What makes you so happy to think about doing it, you could do it 24 hours a day? Don't make it rude. And the third thing is also, what will people pay for? So what are you brilliant at doing? What do you love doing? And what will people pay for? Somewhere in between all those, where they interlock, is what you should be doing for the rest of your life. And if you can turn that into a side hustle, a 0.5 job, and you can create a brand online and create a relationship with a market that's willing to pay for you, that's where your sweet spot should be. So when it comes down to public speaking, which is my particular area of handing out the pans so people can find their gold, I find that as I travel around the world and work with lots of different people in every country, it's the same thing. The same challenge is we don't want to stand up and speak. And why was that? At school, we got it beaten out of us. Whenever you stood up to be counted, to say something or ask a question that's realistic to you, the teacher would say, oh, come on, please sit down. We've got better things to do. I've already told you. And we learn to behave. We learn to sit down, and we learn not to ask any questions. Then in our job, we're asked to think out of the box and come up with really good solutions, and we're taught to do the opposite. So, how does that work out for everybody? Reinvent yourself. Do it every single day. The comfort zone that we grew up to believe will be fine for us for the rest of our lives is not there anymore. It's moved. Be in discomfort every single day. Why? Because then there's no surprises. And it's a game of percentages. It's like, how many people here in this room go to the gym on a regular basis? Put your hands up so I can see all the fit people. Okay, how many people are deluding themselves and shouldn't bother going? I'm joking. But here's the thing. In order to be able to run a marathon, you don't have to run 24 or 26 miles. All you have to do is put one foot in front of the other and repeat. If you do that enough times, eventually you've done your marathon. So in order to change things for you, whatever your job is, whatever your situation is, you don't necessarily have to make huge changes, just small ones on a regular basis. Now when you look around online, you see some of our influencers, and we've got some superstars in this room. I feel so grateful to be alongside the people we have in this room, and you get to see them in action a little later on. Success leaves clues. Connect with these people, see how they do it, see how they grow their brand. One of the best personal branding experts in the world is with us right now, with Dr. Natalia. Give her a massive round of applause. You've seen the videos, it's fantastic. She'll be sharing clues and ideas and so on with you, and every other expert in this room will be able to do so. I learn all the time from Dr. Natalia. I even learn from this guy here, one of my heroes. So hey, stand up, Bella. Stand up. This guy here. Are you married yet?
Oh yeah.
Ladies, here's the one for you. This guy here knows more about LinkedIn algorithms than anybody I've ever met before. He literally would say to me, right, I'm going to be creating about another 100,000 people by Christmas. I'm like, okay, go on then. And he'd send me a message say, right, I've got another 100,000 people. It's incredible. So connect with him and ask him questions. This guy gives so much content, it's incredible. And I love you for it. And your grip is too much, but give him a round of applause anyway. There you go. You'll get to meet everybody. As I say, success leaves clues, but the one thing I would leave you with before we start the evening properly is don't be scared to ask yourself difficult questions. Most people go, la 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 la, it's going to get better. It is not going to get better. What we have right now is an opportunity to reinvent all the time. And when you get used to doing that, then you just get used to being better. And if you find the stuff you're doing doesn't work, throw it to one side. Don't keep doing it because you hope it'll get better. Maybe it won't. If there's one thing I would suggest you remember, and it's to do with your relationships with your partners, with your potential clients, with the people you want to follow you online, it's one question that you must ask all the time. What's in it for them? Not you. Nobody cares about you. I'm not being horrible. Nobody cares about me. Wife, maybe. I hope. But what they want is, what do I get from you that will be useful for me? Ask yourself that question all the time with everybody, and suddenly you'll find that what they tell you is what you need to do to get them to connect with you, and you can monetize that relationship, and it will change your life. I'm happy to share that with everybody. I'm happy to connect with everybody and help everybody. I'm sure it's true for all our influencers and all our connectors who have come here today. So I'm not going to talk anymore. I'd just like to put your hands together for yourselves for coming today, because that's the first step. Give yourselves a massive round of applause.